Hello, 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 and welcome to the Good Vibes Lifestyle happening every Thursday. Now, today I'm a little bit late, but please forgive me. I've got a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot to share with you. So, welcome to the Good Vibes Lifestyle live stream. I'm your host, Leslie Klein, and we're coming together under some very powerful cosmic energy. This is a day for clarity, for truth and conscious choice as the moon continues to grow brighter, moving from a new moon to a full moon, and insights rise from within. So take a breath, settle in, and let's explore how to move forward with alignment rather than urgency. So I'm streaming live to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and you can actually comment or ask questions throughout the show. So I invite you to do that. And I'm also distributing this after it's finished live up to Spotify. So you can get this podcast on Spotify too, if that's the platform that you prefer to use. So, where are you watching from? I would love to know. Please put it in the chat. All right, let's get into it because we've got some stuff happening. Astrologically, we are, um, as I talked about last week, we have moved into the sun has moved into the sign of Aquarius on January 19th, which was just this Monday, just a few days ago. And the sun moved out of the sign of Capricorn, which has to do with structure, and moving into the sign of Aquarius, which is all about innovation and liberation, especially, even revolution. That's why we're seeing a lot of protests happening, a lot of social change happening in the world. And today also, Mercury is in conjunct with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. So today is a very intense day. And I believe tomorrow there's going to be 5 planets in the sign in Pluto as well. So there's a lot going on. And I'm not an astrologer. Let me be transparent here. I know some basic information, and this is what I'm sharing with you. If you want some more in depth, the person I recommend is either Pam Gregory. You can go to her YouTube channel, or Tanya Gabrielle. And both of them really are astrologers for many years, know what they're talking about. They're where I get there's some of my sources where I get information to share with you, but I try to simplify the astrology, the basic energy, so you have an idea, because just knowing a little bit, I think, helps us in our day to day lives. So it's kind of good to know what the general energies are. And if you want more specifics, go to an astrologer, get a reading, and they can tell you specifically based on your particular chart what is going on. So, but generally, let's talk about what phase of the moon we're in. So the phase of the moon that we're in is called the waxing phase of the moon. We're moving from the new moon, where you don't see the moon at all because it's right next to the sun, um, and it's moving to the full moon, which will happen on February 1st. So this is what we call the waxing phase, where things are building. So that's kind of the energy we're in. We plant the seeds at the new moon, they come to fruition on the full moon, and then that goes becomes the waning phase, where things start diminishing, things get integrated, assimilation happens from whatever was harvested at the full moon time. And this has to do with projects in your lives, different, whatever you're working on, this concept can be applied. So again, the new moon happened on January 18th, just this past Sunday, in the sign of Capricorn. The moon moves into a different astrological sign. There are 12 of them every 2.5 days. And then the full moon will be on February 1st at 5:09 p.m. in the sign of Leo. So, also just to kind of throw it out there, the full moon in the month of February is known as the snow moon. The indigenous people, Native Americans, have different names for the different moons of the month, and it's connected to whatever's happening, yeah, it's seasonally in Mother Nature. So snow is prominent during the month of February. So just so that you kind of know that. But the big stuff that's happening today is a special portal. It is called, it is actually, today's 1/22 of 2026. And numerology, you reduce those numbers down. So 2026 becomes a one number. That's what we've talked about. This year, 2026, is a 1 year. And we move, so next year will be a 2 year, 3 year, and it goes all the way to nine. So we have these 9 year cycles that happen when you're looking at the year 2026 and 2027. So we are at in a whole new energy. And then we've talked about the fire horse, which happens with the new moon that happens in February, on February 17th, based on Chinese astrology. They have a different system, but we can learn and integrate that system with the Western astrology. So it's really cool. But let's talk about the numerology of 122 1. So it's a very powerful portal. This is a day for clarity, visionary thinking, and intentional creation. And we're going to do a meditation shortly that's going to kind of help us get in alignment with those concepts. The moon is growing brighter. Mercury is aligned with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. And Pluto is the planet of transformation. If you are Scorpio, this is our planet. Transformation, the Phoenix Rising, the Tower card in the Tarot deck. So Pluto is very intense and causes transformation. And Aquarius, as I talked about earlier, Aquarian energy has to do with revolution, with humanity, with we, not me. We're getting into the age of Aquarius. So these ideas of innovation and electricity and things happening quickly are all part of that energy, which is in alignment with the fire horse, which is the Chinese astrology that's coming up in this year. Okay, so the energy is perfect for uncovering truths, connecting to your higher guidance, and taking aligned steps towards your vision. So the number one represents beginning and leadership. The first number one appears in the month of January. And again, when you reduce the full date numerologically, the 2026 becomes a one. Okay, so one resonates with new beginnings, personal empowerment, and stepping into your own authority. It's a number that reminds us to take initiative and set intentions aligned with our highest path. You may have heard about where there are different timelines, there are parallel realities. So we can choose which timeline we want to be in. And if we intend to be on the highest timeline for the highest and best good of all, that's my goal. That's my intention that I put out there. That's like the best, as opposed to not having any intention and just going with whatever. And if you're at a lower frequency, you're gonna be on a timeline that may not be for your highest good. So if you intentionally set that, alignment with your highest timeline, your highest good, the highest good of all, you'll make a difference, and you'll be putting yourself in that parallel timeline, that parallel reality, that where everything works out for you, where you thrive. Okay. Um, so, so it's the number one that reminds us to take initiative and set intentions aligned with our highest path. Now, 22 is one of the special numbers because whenever you see a double number, 11, a 22, a 33, those are considered master numbers. And 22 is considered the master builder. So today's date is 22. And you usually, when you get those master numbers, you don't reduce them down to a four, right? Two plus two equals a four. You would just keep it as a 22. And the master number 22 is called the master builder, which represents visionary creation and manifesting dreams into reality. So it combines intuition from the number two with practical action from the four, which is two plus two, which helps turn big visions into tangible results. So, spiritually, it's a day to focus on alignment between the heart and higher purpose. making it ideal for meditation, intention setting, or launching projects with long term impact. Today is a very important day. And kind of no wonder they're doing the hearings from Jack Smith about the investigations he's done. So it's a very uh, aligned thing that's happening today that you may be watching. I was watching earlier, and we'll follow up and follow, because I like to follow those kind of things of what's happening with our government and what's in the world. Okay. So the portal 122 1 represents self and initiative. 22 represents visionary potential and co-creation. And then again, 1, action and manifestation. So this forms a cosmic sandwich of manifestation. So you have the 22, and then it's sandwiched with the 1 and the 1. So let's see, vision 22, and then take the first empowered steps 1, making it real. This is considered a very high frequency day, perfect for clarity, intentional creation, and stepping into personal power while aligning with higher consciousness. So that is the numerology for today. And like I said, in a few minutes, I'm going to be leading you in a guided meditation that involves some of those things so we can align to our higher self. All right. So that's pretty much what's going on. Like I said, tomorrow, Venus, Mercury, the Sun, and Mars, we're going to have 5 planets in Pluto and the moon in Aries. So this is a very intense time, and it's a lot for me to explain. So go to your favorite astrologer online and digest that information, get that information. All right, so let's talk about UFO and UAP disclosure, which is a segment that I think is so important to our times. The queering energy has to do with the air. It's an air element and has to do with ETs. And there's been this propaganda put out for many years that for us to be afraid of the ETs, to be afraid of our star family, which is what the Native Americans call the extraterrestrials. And we like to it's recommended to use ET or extraterrestrial or cosmic friend, those kind of descriptions, as opposed to alien, because alien has a negative connotation. And there's been this fear propaganda that pervaded our society for so many years, and there's a reason for it. The government, who's been in contact with the ETs, have reverse engineered ET craft and have taken the ET technology for the purpose of militarization and weaponization. you know um, this is why we want disclosure. So as far as the latest news, James Fox had just 2 days ago a press conference at the National Press Club, and he had different witnesses to the Virginia in Virginia, Brazil. It's a town in Brazil where there was an encounter or an incident, and he had these witnesses come, to the National Press Club, and it was all day long. I did catch some of it, but a lot of it is in James Fox's latest film, which is called Moment of Contact: New Revelations of Alien Encounters. And see, he's using the word alien, which, I just said it's not the best term to use, but, it is what it is. So you can actually watch this video. It's on Amazon Prime, and I have a link here that you can go to, and you can rent the movie for like $3.99 if you just watch the ST version as opposed to the HD version, or you could buy the movie. So, if you're into UFOs, this would be a great movie to watch. So that just happened a couple of days ago. So all of the UFO podcasts and YouTube channels and stuff will be digesting what was presented at this particular event. And again, this was happened in Virginia, Brazil, where there was a UFO craft. And this happened in 1996. There were several witnesses that saw the beings, and they were very different looking, brown with red eyes, and then also all white. So there was speculation that they changed colors based on their distress level. So very interesting. So check it out. Check out the movie. Now, as far as Citizens for Disclosure, which is the organization that is the grassroots arm of the New Paradigm Institute, I want to share with you the latest with that. I am one of the co leaders for the state of Florida regarding Citizens for Disclosure. Each state, and there are 35 of them, I believe, right now, that has a state leader that's organizing on a grassroots level the people that are interested in this subject for the purposes of lobbying Congress to take back their power over, oversight of what's been happening in these black operations, these black projects. Uh, that the government has ET contact, has reverse engineered the craft, has defense contractors too, have are using these alien or this ET technology for nefarious purposes. Whereas in the whole push by the Citizens for Disclosure is to get that technology out to the public. This we're talking about clean energy. We're talking about ways to clean up the planet, get rid of nuclear waste like Fukushima and things like this, because and generally the message from the ETs is take care of your planet. We have this beautiful living planet that we are a part of. We're the children of the earth. Naturally, we are part of this environment, Mother Earth. We're part of her. And we need to be in a symbiotic relationship with her, not in a destructive one, which is what we have done as a species, is taken advantage, especially the last 100 years with the Industrial Revolution and, oil and industry and all this stuff. So anyway, these are some of the reasons I'm involved with this movement. And Danny Sheehan, if you become here, I'll put the link for the New Paradigm Institute. You can go to that link. You can just sign up for their newsletter. And this is where I'm getting this information from this week's newsletter. You can sign up to be a volunteer in your state. And if your state doesn't have a state lead, consider being part of that. It's really been um, not just beneficial, really a joy getting to be part of the community of other state leaders. And it's, we have a weekly Zoom meeting, and then we have Zoom meetings with um, our people in each state, our volunteers in each state. And the type of actions that we do is educating people about this topic, and also at certain times lobbying Congress through emails and phone calls about when there's certain bills and things happening that we need to be the squeaky wheel, because that's how our government works. All right, so what I wanted to share is that Danny Sheehan, who is the president of the New Paradigm Institute, he's a congressional lawyer that has been involved in many different social justice cases, from the Iran Contra affair to the Pentagon Papers to 3 Mile Island and this Karen Silkwood case. He's amazing. And we are so blessed and lucky to have people like him and his life partner, Sarah Nelson, who's the executive director of the New Paradigm Institute, leading the way, and really making a difference. So in his letter, he talked about the strategy for 2026. Citizens for Disclosure has only been around for about 2 years. It's a very new grassroots organization. And so this year in 2026, New Paradigm Institute strategy is centered on steady growth and responsible expansion. So they are working to strengthen our national Citizens for Disclosure network, which you can be part of. Whoops. Deepen our policy and legal efforts, and then to broaden public education so that disclosure is guided by ethics, diplomacy, and accountability rather than secrecy or fear, which, like I said, is what um, we have. There's ETs, aliens, and fear have all, and secrecy have all been part of it. Denying Roswell, where there have been so many people saying Roswell happened, it's real, and it was a cover up. They finally admitted that it was a cover up. The documents have come out from the government that confirm Roswell happened. And, even more than that, look at the testimony from David Grush. All right. So here's a great quote that Danny has. He says, "Disclosure is not a single event, it's a process that requires patience, coordination, and shared commitment." So, again, here's the website if you want to join up. And I encourage you to do so because this is where the future is going to be in working with our star family. Okay, now, one of the things that I've done is a volunteer. And when you're a volunteer, you can, use your gifts, talents, whatever, in ways to support the cause. And one of the ways that I've chosen to support the cause is by doing this series called the Disclosure Dialogues. It's a monthly panel discussion. Usually, it's a panel. It started last August, and I want to play a clip from um, the interview that I just did last night. The 6th episode just happened last night with Sarah Nelson, who I just mentioned is the executive director of the New Paradigm Institute. And she was also a feminist leader with the NOW movement, or NOW, National Organization of Women, back in the 70s. So this woman is fantastic. And I'm going to share with you a little clip from last night's program, and I'm going to give you the link so you can watch the whole thing. It did go to an hour and 15 minutes, but it was fascinating information. So let me share with you Sarah Nelson.
This is the most important moment in human history. After we have disclosure, nothing will ever be the same again. It's like going into an entirely new age where many, 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 many things are different, because it is going to affect our identity of who we are on Earth, who we are in the galaxy, who we are in the cosmos. It's going to affect it's going to change the narrations in our religious constituencies, because our story is going to be a different story than the one that we or maybe an elaboration of the story that we already have, but it's definitely going to change. And our economy is going to change, because the clean energy sources that will be available to us, we could move from an economy of scarcity, where you must have poverty, where you will always have poverty, because it's based on that. You have to have that in a scarcity economy, to an economy oriented towards abundance and meeting everyone's needs. It's a very different kind of thing.
So that's a little clip from the interview I did, and let's give you the link here. So tinyurl.com/disclosure dialogue 6, and the 2 D's in that are capitalized. So check it out. I'll also have it in the show description. Okay, so that's one of the things I'm doing in another program that's really cool that I will be that I'm working on, hasn't been released yet, is a series I'm going to do called Galactic Good Vibes, where I actually interview experiencers. There are many, many people who have been communicating and having different types, levels of relationship with extraterrestrials, and trying to communicate through them, because communicating through our government has not worked. The military and the national security state has taken over that, and they have their particular way of looking at things. So I will be doing in the next few weeks, releasing different interviews with experiencers, and I'm very excited about that. All right, so let's now settle down and we're going to do a little guided meditation here. And I'm doing this in the middle of the show as opposed to the end of the show because I think it's very important that we learn how to shift from our mind to our heart and make that because things are only going to get more chaotic in the world. And it's important that when that's happening, we get to our center, that we go into the eye of the hurricane and not be swept away in the outskirts of the hurricane. When we're in the center, when we're connected to our higher selves, this is when we can do that. So let me get some music going here. And I hope you like this bamboo flute music. And if you're driving, to make sure that we're safe if you're operating heavy equipment, not a time to do meditation. So let me share this meditation with you. Okay. So take a deep breath and feel the moon's light growing brighter today, illuminating your path. This is a 122-1 portal, a cosmic invitation to clarity, vision, and empowered action. Bring awareness to your spine, your center of balance and support. Feel yourself upright, steady, and present. Let the mind soften. There's nothing to figure out. Today is for seeing clearly and sensing truth before moving forward. Make sure your eyes are closed and visualize yourself standing at the beginning of a path. There is no urgency here, no pressure to move quickly. Notice the energy of this 122-1 portal. 1 represents your personal power, initiative, and choice. 22 represents your visionary potential and the ability to manifest your highest dreams. And 1 again represents the first inspired step you can take. So on this path, one direction feels familiar. We've come to a fork in the road. One direction feels safe and familiar, safe and known. And the other path feels expansive, alive, and a little unknown. Without judgment, notice how your body responds. Where do you feel ease? Where do you feel expansion? Now place 1 hand on your heart and 1 on your belly, connecting intuition and alignment. And silently affirm, I choose alignment before momentum, and I step into my highest vision with clarity. Now breathe. Feel calm certainty settling in. Insight comes naturally when we pause, listen, and trust. The path does not need to be rushed. It will be ready when you are aligned and present. Now take one deep breath, feeling the moon's light and the portal's energy supporting you. You are grounded, empowered, and clear. Now, as we step back into the day, carry the clarity of this 122-1 portal with you. Trust your vision, follow your heart, and take aligned action. Now let's explore how today's energies can support us in making empowered choices in our lives. And when you're ready, come back, open your eyes, and tell me how you're feeling. How are you feeling? I know when I'm not doing the meditation because I'm, guiding you, but I always find that I slow down and, I'm kind of in that energy. So let's go. Now that we're in that kind of like intuitive space and more settled, more in tune, let's talk about the oracle spreads. There's a book called 111 Oracle Spreads, and instead of doing an oracle of the month, I'm doing a spread of the month, or a spread of the week, really. And this week, and it's coinciding with each month. So we'll do a 1-card spread for the month of January, 2-card spread for February, and so on and so on. So it'll be easier in the beginning. It'll be a little bit more lengthy as we get more cards. And so the goal setter spread, the card that we're going to pull is going to represent the potential obstacle in the pursuit of your goal. And hopefully you may have gotten a goal or in some inspired action from the meditation you just did. And remember too, you can always play this video back and go back to the meditation and do it again. Maybe you're not able to do it now because you're at work. Or someplace that you're not able to do it. So, use these meditations because I believe, I love guided meditations. I find them very helpful. It's just, it's important to give our mind something to follow so that we can kind of get into that quiet space. So, goal setter spread. Ready, set, goal. When in pursuit of your goals and dreams, this spread can help you identify anything that may hinder your progress. Use this card's energy to help keep your life in alignment with your goals and move toward them. So the card that we're going to pull is going to be a card representing the potential obstacle in pursuit of your goal. So I'm going to use the Psychic Tarot deck, which is this one. Oh, I'm sorry, my camera is mirrored. And I'm going to pull a card and ask Spirit to give us a card to represent the potential obstacle we might have when pursuing our goal. I'll do my best to give you my intuitive hit, but use your intuition to see what this card means for you. Very interesting. And the card is New Beginnings. There we go. Oops. New Beginnings. I need to change my camera here because I am mirrored. There we go. New Beginnings. Now, New Beginnings in the Tarot represents the Fool card. So the Fool card is the beginning of a new thing. So this is very much in sync with what we're talking about here. So let me read from the book what this means. Now, intuitively, again, we're asking what is the potential obstacle that we have? And the obstacle is that it's a new beginning. So how do we feel about new beginnings? Um, some people might be afraid of taking that step. Normally, you have uh, in the regular tarot, it's a card representing a guy with a um, like a stick with a like a hobo bag, and he's stepping off a cliff. And the whole idea is, when we're starting something new and we have a new beginning, we don't know what that new beginning is going to be. So there could be some fear. So I think that's what this is relating to, the fear of starting something new. So let me read this message here. New beginnings. Each and every journey begins with the all important first step. When this card presents itself in your reading, it's confirming that it's time for you to take a brave leap of faith, but be prepared as you do so. This card represents that a new great adventure is awaiting you. It usually shows up when there's a significant interchange happening within you. By selecting this card, it's a sign that those important choices are needed and are about to be made and should be carefully pondered as you proceed with wisdom, thought, and care. Life is constantly trying to nudge and move you forward. At times, it can be daunting when you're faced with a new adventure or direction. Therefore, it calls for inner belief and courage as you take that leap of faith and step into the unknown. During this time, don't be alarmed if you feel lost or even confused. Most people are afraid of change and play it safe by staying where they are. Know that through inner guidance, wisdom, and a belief in yourself, and by tapping into these tools, you'll be propelled forward on a positive, life changing path. Don't conform to what society or other individuals expect of you at this time. It's your own adventure. During this time, be like an innocent child with fresh eyes and give yourself permission to live, play, love, and above all, laugh. So I think that's perfect. I love, there's always a little fear that I have that, well, it really didn't happen that much, but, you know, will I be able to interpret the card for people? Will the card make sense? But I trust in spirit. I trust in the universe that, these cards, these divination tools are a way to communicate with the divine. It's kind of like a cell phone, you know, to divinity, right? It's a way to communicate with the higher self, with God, with however, whatever word you use for the, higher power. So, let me know in the comments if that was, if you got, if that made sense to you. So let's now talk about. And I do want to share that you can go to good-vibes.tv, and I have a whole link tree there with different buttons that get you to different things, including my Amazon store. So if you like this book or these tarot decks or any of the things that I've mentioned in the past, you can go to this my website and click on the shop on Amazon store button, and you'll be able to see what things I've recommended over the years. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about spiritual activism. And maybe in your meditation, you got some inspired actions or got some inspirations of actions that you can take. One of the big ones that I always suggested, following Pam Gregory, the astrologer's lead, is to do a meditation just for 15 minutes, sending love and light to the planet, connecting with all the other people meditating at that time, at 2 o'clock Eastern time, and whatever time that changes, that is for you, wherever you're living. She started this on Sundays and now recommends it every day, and it's really powerful. And if you're watching, social media, the news, or being aware of what's happening in our society, it can be very upsetting. And, one of the things that I find that's empowering is to contact our Congress, right? We live in a democracy, but if we're not practicing it, if we're not engaged in it, it's not going to work. And what happens, we're giving away our power, and that's when the big corporations take that power and then manipulate the system for their needs, which is not in alignment with the people's needs, we the people. So you can just simply go to congress.org, put your zip code in there or your address. It'll tell you who your representatives are. Each state has 2 senators, and then your district that you live in has a congressional representative for the House, right? You have the Senate and the House. And just go there and write them. I've been doing it regularly from the beginning of the year, from when the Doge stuff was happening to seeing what's been happening in Minnesota with Renee Good and ICE and all the horrible things. But again, it's this balance of being in the world but not of it. And, meditation and, our first stop should be going within and ask spirit, what inspired action can I do? What inspired action can I take to help, you know, move the needle so that we are living the highest timeline? So that's all I've got for spiritual activism today. And another form is, joining the New Paradigm Institute and getting involved with that cause. So let's talk. I love to share different free, especially opportunities for education. I think education is so important. And one of the most important things that I think we can do is grow a garden. And I'm going to share with this. Now, I do want to disclose I have an affiliate link with the it's called Grow Your Own Vegetables organization, and they're hosting a special event. It's called the Joyful Gardener docu-series. They do this every year, and I've shared about this before. Um, but you don't just like learn how to garden once and you're good. You can always, it's a study, a lifelong study of how to improve and how to get better yields or how to do things in better ways. And they have this wonderful docu series that's going to be starting February 10th through 17th. So I want to give you enough time to sign up. I have the link here on the bottom, and this is where you'll learn how to grow fresh, healthy vegetables at home and enjoy the natural sense of joy that gardening brings. Connecting with Mother Earth. Last week we were talking about using cannabis in meditation, and I did that wonderful elevation ceremony with Becca Williams. It was pretty incredible, and I really enjoyed it. And if that's your thing, but you can do her meditation without having plant medicine at all. But that's one way to connect with the plant kingdom. Another way is to have a garden to grow things. And and I have a little hydroponic thing. I've had a tower garden, so you can grow that way. And I love growing in containers. You can, sometimes that's easier than tilling the soil if you don't have the property. So you can grow a garden on your balcony in containers. So there's many different ways. And when we work with the plants, we're grounding our energy, and that is so important to our health. And it actually reduces inflammation in the body, which is one of the first causes, they say, of disease. So I just want to share this with you. It's a free 8-day online event, and it shows you how to grow the freshest, most nutrient-rich foods at home while experiencing the pure joy that gardening brings. Now, being in the good vibe state of joy is so important. So this is another tool to garden to raise your vibration. So I just want to share that with you, and I'll keep reminding you until we get to when it starts. So let me now talk about this wonderful book I'm in. And let's see, take this off the screen. There is, I told you about last week, the Art of Connection book, and we had the launch last week. This is of the Kindle version, and you can actually purchase this book. You can go to my Amazon store and do it. This link right here, tinyurl.com/capital GVTV, and then resilience will get you to the page where you can actually, let me see, let me change this here so it stays up longer. So you can go to this link and purchase the book on Amazon. This is a Kindle version, and for a limited time, it is available for $3.99. So check it out. It's 365 days of quotes about resilience. And I have one of the pages. I'm on August 11th, which is pretty cool because my husband's birthday is on August 10th. And good news, the Kindle version did make the international, is considered an international best-selling book. Now, the paperback comes out next week, and so I'll have information on how you can purchase the paper book if you prefer to have paper. I've This is the third Art of Connection book that I've been in. Very cool opportunity. The process of uh, writing the book and the community that you're involved with is amazing. They're even doing a special trip to New York in Times Square, and where the book and you can be on the screen. I'm not going to be able to do that myself, but it's pretty exciting opportunity. So, they always have these um, books, every year there's a new book. I'm not sure what the next one will be, but if you're interested in writing a chapter in the book, please reach out to me. I'm happy to set you up with that. Okay, so final thing today is the tip of the week to raise your vibration. And so last week's tip of the week was to use plant medicine to regulate your nervous system. And whether you're talking about cannabis or psilocybin, which is the mushrooms, um, or even chamomile tea. The herbs don't have to be psychoactive like that, but they're, herbs, the plants, medicine, they're medicine on many different levels. This is where our first medicines came from. We're from the plant kingdom. So you can use the plant medicine to regulate your nervous system, which is so important right now with all the chaos that's happening in the world. And with the fire horse being a fire horse year, things are just going to continue to ramp themselves up. Things are going to be moving fast, being that we're in the age of Aquarius. So, very important to regulate our nervous system, because when we're watching the social media and we're seeing injustices done, it is so upsetting. And it happens to me too. I try to monitor how much of that I allow into my system because I get all upset. We're humans and we're compassionate. If you're, I'd say most people are compassionate. And when someone is doing something harmful to our brother or sister or mother or father or child, it impacts us because we're all connected. This is the fact. We are all connected. So what we do to one, we're doing to all. And when something happens to that person, it's happening to us too. So we're going to respond, and we need to choose how we're going to respond as opposed to just react and just go crazy. And there are many different productive ways that we can do that. And again, it's about your sovereignty and finding out what is right for you. Just because I suggest some things doesn't mean that you need to go do them. Whether it's doing an economic boycott of a certain company like Target or Home Depot, who are, helping ICE and doing their raids, or other, or doing an actual protest or writing letters to your congressman. You do what feels right for you, not because I said it. Because we're all individual people, and it's important to be empowered, to take that power back. And it's all very individual. And Aquarian energy, it's about the individual. It's about all of us, but it's also about eccentricity and being individual and being art. And that's what makes us all wonderful. We are all so different. We are all, sparks. We are the, what do they say, the spark of the creator. The creator wants experience, have different experiences, and we have the unique experiences by each person's individual life, no matter how wonderful their life seems or how tragic their life seems. We all have, we're all on different paths, but we're all connected as well. So it's, this great mystery of life. So the tip for this week's tip of the week is to plan and grow a garden. So, think of what your space, sign up for this docu-series that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Get your gardening gear together, dream your garden. If you're a regular gardener, plan for the next season. This is so important, and it helps us connect with Mother Earth, and that's so important. So, my friends, I want to say thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. And share it with someone who needs a boost of good vibrations, of good vibes. And until next time, my friends, peace out, and I will see you next week.